Hi everyone, I'm Jen Ziegler with Remax Real Estate Center, and today I'm going to teach you about how to not be a super jerk face when you're buying your house. Obviously, when you're in different industries, you kind of learn what's appropriate and not appropriate. For example, you wouldn't walk into somebody's house and wear your boots in. So I'm going to teach you sort of the tactics and just what things that you may not know when it comes to negotiating, and hopefully your agent has told you or you'll learn. So the first thing that you never ever want to do when it comes to negotiating your property is, in the event that you're kind of negotiating back and forth with your realtor and you come to a verbal agreement. So you say, yep, we feel good about that. And they say, yep, fine. And you come to a verbal agreement, and then your realtor goes off to get it in writing. We get everything signed. It's official. Never, ever change that. Never say, you know what, actually, can you see if you can throw in the couch? Or can we negotiate in the washer and dryer? Or see if we can get another $1,000 off. I have seen people lose amazing houses at great deals because all of a sudden they decided that they would just change their minds and try and negotiate further. And it's not even just a matter of what that value is. Like, if it's a couch, who cares? The point is, you've now created a dynamic where they can't trust you, and you never ever want that in a real estate deal. You want both parties to be very honest, very appreciative, feeling like the other person is going to take over their home, because as much as we think when it comes to a buyer that the seller only cares about top dollar, they of course care about top dollar, but they also generally care about their neighbors. They want to make sure they're not moving in someone that's not reasonable. They don't want to move in someone that's going to be a headache through the process, that's going to call them all the time, bug them about issues, say, well, you know, the dryer doesn't dry as quickly as I would like. So any type of indicator that shows that you're going to be high maintenance or difficult, a seller is not going to be drawn to. And I've had situations where I'm dealing with multiple offers and we have two different buyers come in, and just based on how that person interacts with their offer and the things that they ask, I've had situations where we've taken less money because the other people just seem like they're going to be easier to work with, and that's priceless at the end of the day, because the whole process is stressful and you just don't want to deal with anyone that's going to be a total jerkface. 2, try not to negotiate people's personal items. So we have a list of things that are included on a listing. So things that typically would stay in a real estate deal would be appliances, honestly, mostly just because they're a total pain in the ass to move. Light fixtures, window treatments, sheds, automatic garage door remotes, those would all kind of stay. Once we start getting into people's personal belongings, like I really like that person's bed, it gets real weird. Like, why do you want their bed? And second of all, it's also like you never know the value that somebody has placed on those belongings. So when you're just asking for them, you could now be hitting an emotional trigger. So you ask for somebody's couch and their mom gave them that couch and then their mom passed away. Well, now that couch to them is invaluable. As a buyer, it's worth maybe $1,000 in the convenience of not moving in, and you like that it fits the space. But to the seller, you've just triggered something that now makes them uncomfortable in the process. So what I would recommend is tell your realtor, if you do want to buy stuff outside of the deal, to have it separate once the deal's finalized, so that they're not sitting here negotiating over a shelf. I literally had a deal fall apart over a shelf. And it was crazy, but this is what I mean. People get very specific about their things. And her mom had given it to her, and her mom passed away. So this shelf that was probably worth $20 was priceless to her, and this buyer insisted on getting it, and the deal almost fell apart. And I literally had to be like, okay, so this is what I mean. Take it down, think about it as a buyer, keep it separate, and just buy the things that seem like they conveniently stay. And then if you want to buy things after the fact, then negotiate it after the fact. Third thing, always be very mindful when you're in someone's home. So whether you like it or whether you don't like it, that's fine, but there's a lot of respect that you want to pay to somebody's house. And there's also a lot of respect as to how your realtor is going to negotiate even your deal. So I'm not saying you can't lowball a property. When we say lowball, we mean coming in below value. If there's reasonable comparable properties, or the property's in bad shape, or it makes sense that you can come in at that value, is one thing. But make sure you have a realtor that says to you, honestly, Joanna, that is embarrassing. You want to know that as a buyer, because if you actually like the house, if she's confident you're not going to get it for $900,000 and they're asking $1,050,000, then she should just tell you that. And it's not to say you can't try it, but if you know and they know that the value is $1,000,000, Sometimes you're just wasting your time by being $100,000 under asking, because it's not going to happen. You're just going to piss off your seller. And now you're in a situation where you've created a dynamic that they don't really feel comfortable moving forward with you, And in the event that you do want to try going in lower, make sure that your agent has a lot of reasons as to why they can back it up. So we're offering $900 because the sale down the road sold for $950. We need to put in all new flooring in this property. It smells like cat pee. There was a dead clown upstairs. Like, there's all these things that you can obviously use. Just make sure they're valid and make sure you're using it, not just 900, take it or leave it. Because that sort of perspective is a little bit of an old school bully tactic. And I've just learned in the last 10 years, it doesn't work. And if you come to me with a take it or leave it and I'm the listing agent, I'm like, leave it then. And a lot of agents are like that. We want it to be a relationship. We want it to work. We want it to be good rapport. We want to make everything happen for everyone. So that's the best way to do it. So there are my 3 top tips on how not to be a total jerk face when you're buying your home. And hopefully you've taken a little bit of knowledge from this to learn about how you can essentially maximize your position when it comes to negotiating on your house, so that you're not sitting here doing things that you didn't even realize would create an uncomfortable dynamic, because nothing's worse than having to pay more money or upsetting a seller only because you did one of these things that you didn't even realize was an issue. So thanks so much for listening. Remember to always follow your heart in real estate. I'm Jen Ziegler. Take care.